या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु मातृरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु मीरारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। पूज्य माँ भगवती, पूज्य Sri Arvind, you all are present here, the chosen children, chosen souls of the mother, and those who are at present listening to this anywhere outside the premises in which we are sitting, are also equally blessed chosen souls of the Divine Mother, because the stream of consciousness as such is not easily available to them, those who are not totally surrendered to the Divine, where understanding is not required, analysis is not required, the perception of the supreme realization is also not required. The required state of consciousness is only the state of consciousness which is in harmony within and which is directly related to the consciousness of the Supreme. So, the matter that is going to be transformed, inert matter, inconscient, is the base of the body, and human matter is the functioning matter of the body, where spirit and matter both can harmoniously intermingle. So this is the real human stuff, but it is the mind that might have used this human portion given by the Divine to all of us is used in such a way that it has become polluted, committed to dead habits, committed to wrong perceptions, and committed to wrong intellectual and emotional understanding. So the misuse of the mind has polluted the matter. Misuse of the mind has polluted our human matter. And that is why, in order to make the human matter transformed and transfigured, the purity direct from the divinity is a must, is required. Unpolluted entity, pure entity, perfect entity, and eternal entity is the mind of cell. Every cell has got that spark of purity. And where there is purity from the consciousness point of view, where there is purity, there is infinity. Without purity, there is no infinity. And without divinity, there is no purity. It is only that divine is pure And divine is pure. Beside this, divine is perfect. Atom of the divine is also perfect, and cosmos is also perfect. So perfection, divinity and infinity are the three dimensions of para prakriti, are everywhere. That is in macrocosm, and the same thing is in microcosm. So when purity as such is to be inculcated through the figure given to us as human body, so but it is the mind that has masked the real genuine geometry of our body. Through our organs, we always unconsciously out of the force of the dead habits, we can just mass, and with the result we are bound by the dead habits, dark habits, force of such adverse habits being drawn to the death. The root cause of death, degeneration, deterioration, decomposition is the misuse of the mind, which creates certain dead habits. I am addicted, I am addicted, I am addicted. To get rid of this addiction, one has to be over-conscious. We are consciously being addicted, and to overcome the addiction, we must be over-conscious. We must curb down our committed consciousness, and we must replace that committed consciousness by pure consciousness. And pure consciousness lies only and only in the surrender. If our consciousness is totally surrendered to the divine, then we can say that our consciousness is pure. Our consciousness is transparent. In Savitri, Sri Aurobindo depicts that state. Her mind is a sea of white sincerity. Her mind is a sea of white sincerity, where had not a single turbid wave, that is the transparency of mind, where divinity is there, infinity is there, and real purity is there. So the trinity of infinity, divinity and reality is purity. Purity doesn't mean what we understand, that it has been already filtered. Unfiltered stuff is filtered. So at one end that stuff is unfiltered, impure. At another end, if it is properly filtered, then we accept it to be pure. But it is not that limited purity which is required here. The purity means the spark of divinity, no pollution, no degeneration, no deviation, white sincerity. And sea of white sincerity. The reality of the sea, infinite. No kshitij, no horizon can be seen nor felt. And that is compared to Bhavsagar by our Indian Vedanta. It is Bhavsagar, infinite ocean, where we are supposed to overcome, and that too with the radar of our pure mind, with the radar of pure consciousness, with the radar of purity, infinity and divinity, trinity, so harmoniously functioning in our mind that our mind can be the crystallized instrument. So Sri Aurobindo's yoga and the mother's yoga of body, both the aspects of this yoga, ascent and descent, start with the pinpointed reality of mind. and pinpointed reality is infinity. So it is not the limited and time bound entity is given to us. Our entity is not time bound, our entity is soul bound, our entity is consciousness bound, our entity is divinity bound, our entity is Satchidanand bound, our entity is the portion given by divine to the soul to fulfill the mission that has already been assigned to the soul by the Supreme. This is Leela. So the organs which have been given to us in human body, along with them mind is given. Organs were given and organs are still given to animals also. Tree is also given different branches. Tree is also given leaves. Just a small plant is also given roots and branches and everything. Size doesn't matter. A banyan tree is also given everything, all these things. But to fulfill the mission assigned to it, because soul lived there, even in plants, in animals, anywhere. Even stone is also living. Stone is also living. It is the inconscient consciousness that is there in the stone. It is the dynamic movement, it is the dynamic motion, it is the energy put into dynamic velocity ultimately becomes consciousness mobile. But everything is isavasyam idam sarvam, sarvam khalu idam brahmam. So our human shell is also atom, anu, smallest possible particle of divinity, infinity. That is the reality in atom, because it is unpolluted. Mind did not and does not up till now reach to the human cell. Otherwise it could have been impure by now. Today, as we cannot identify our mind, we cannot recognize our mind, that is the one end of reality. But another end of reality is that we cannot find out the atom of our body too. And it became incomprehensive to our ancient rishis, and that is why body was discarded, only soul was realized on the basis of their sadhana. Now Mother, for the first time ever in the history of spirituality, started combining harmoniously the manifested entity of divine and invisible entity of divine. Manifested entity of divine is body, world, reality, Brahmand, and invisible reality, but pure reality of divinity is soul. Mamaivanso jiva loke jiva bhuto sanatana. That is the purest entity, and that purest entity is made functioning in the body. We don't register the functioning of our cells, how patterns are being created in the body and how patterns are being changed. With a slightest jerk, the design of our geometry of the body changes. And the jerks, pleasure, pain, whatever takes place, whatever happens externally gives result to internal reality. That is the supreme reality in our cell, and that is to be identified by our mind first, and Mother did identify it, and at that time Mother could listen to the secret and silent voice of the cell that we are immortal, we are immortal, we are immortal. We have never heard up till now that voice. That is really his master's voice. It is the master of the cell that speaks through the cell, but still our organs are so deaf that we cannot register the prayer of the cells to the divine. And we go on praying to the divine on the basis of our requirements, our needs, our expectations, our temptations, so many things. But the prayer offered to the divine by our soul, offered to the divine by our cell, is quite a similar prayer, because both the entities are pure, infinite and divine. So harmony at these three levels should be first of all achieved, and that was Mother, after receiving this individual supramental individually from Sri Aurobindo, realized the real true geometry of the body, where divinity, infinity and reality is centrally located, felt by the Mother with her human mind. When Mother started this sadhana, at that time inheritage was absolutely tremendous. Divine inheritage was there. So many dimensions Mother must have achieved in her previous births, but still the master achievement is left out, and that is to be assigned to her to fulfill, and that after departure of Sri Aurobindo, all alone she was compelled to fulfill it. All alone that supramental was at her rescue. All alone supramental was her instrument. All alone supramental was her stuff for regenerating and recreating the new world. It is the new light that is supramental. Bhargovaraniam, Jyoti, light, was given another dimension, Varam Rupam Jyoti. And Varam Rupam Jyoti, the form of the Om Tat Sat in light, so remolded, and from that source Sri Aurobindo got supramental, descended down on the body for reawakening the human cells in the body who were dedicated to the divine in this present birth. Otherwise they all would have passed through so many innumerable births and life. After this they would have achieved the supramentalization. So the time, longevity of time, specifically speaking, really speaking, has been cut short. So Sri Aurobindo's yoga is the shortest cut to reach the highest goal. Highest goal is supramentalization of this body, divinization of this body. Starting point is the psychicization of this body. This is human portion that has to be made divine portion. So from humanity to divinity is our march, virtually speaking, from mentality to psychicality first and initially. That is what Mother says. Especially if you take the heart, just for example, human portion is what? What is human portion? Human portion is not made by human. Human portion is not created by human. Human portion is gifted to the soul to incarnate into humanity, to manifest into humanity for the work that has been assigned by Jagdamba to this soul. That is why she is Jagdamba, World Mother, giving birth to the world. World Mother, giving birth to the life. World Mother, giving individuality to the soul. World Mother, giving ego to the soul. World Mother giving individual nature to the soul, World Mother giving individual entity and destiny to the soul for betterment of purpose, betterment of mission, and betterment of the divine nature that is to be demonstrated in life. Life has a purpose. Life has an assignment. Life has a mission. But whose mission it is? Whose mission it is? It is the mission, little plot of mortality. This is little plot of mortality. But for the play of the divine, for the play of the infinite. Plot is little, infinite is not little. Plot is centrally individualized. Divinity, divine is not individualized. Divine is all omnipotent, omniscient and omnipresent. This is the point, central point of the vast. So the center has to interact with wider circumference or smaller circumference. But existence as such has to be experienced by the centrally located divinity that is our soul, and our human portion given to us has to collaborate with it, has to cooperate with it. Each and every organ we possess has to be the instrument of the divine manifestation. Gnanendriya and Karmendriya, as Srimad Bhagavad Gita says, have to be the crystallized instrument, and the harmony between physical instrument, vital instrument and mental instrument should be so established that it can produce music. And the grand and great music is Omkar. Grand and great music is mantra. Grand and great music is Shruti. Grand and great music is the melodious music of Lord Krishna. The flute of Krishna is the divine body given to us. It's simply a piece of wood, but if it is properly harmonized, if it is properly instrumentalized, rather if it is properly crystallized with wide sincerity, it can be the instrument in the hands of the divine for producing a greater Omkar, and greater Omkar is truth manifested, is totality of Shiva and Shakti, is totality of visibility and invisibility. Mother says that makes a kind of very difficult combination. That is a very difficult combination. Vital is to be put in this orbit, physically is also to be put into this orbit, mentality is also to be put into this orbit through the right use of mind. Turning point is first of all in sadhana given to the mind, and for giving turning point to the mind, going in the western direction has to be brought down so as it can take the right direction, eastern direction, direction of sun, direction of sunlight. And that is why Aurobindo has given nomenclature to his path as sunlit path, where Varam Rupam Jyoti is to be manifested. Up till now, Bhargo Varenium, Jyoti, Gayatri is there in our soul. Now let this Gayatri be Savitri. Let this soul be so enhanced. Let this soul be so upgraded. Let this soul be so vertical, and vertical with the maximum power, vertical with the maximum and absolute light should be Varam Rupam Jyoti. Should be Anandamayi, Chaitanyamayi, Satyamayi, Parme. Though is Parme, it has to be manifested as Anandamayi, Chaitanyamayi, Satyamayi, Parme. Satchidanand reversed. Sat, Chit and Anand first stage, that is Sat, second one Chit, and Anand is the third one. Satchidanand is reversed as Anandamayi, Chaitanyamayi, Satyamayi, Parme. That is the descent, triangle of descent in Sri Aurobindo's symbol. That has to be symbolically manifested and concretized in our body, but it should start, programming and experiment as such should start from our cell. And that is for the first time body was taken into account, body was taken into confidence, body was accepted by soul consciously, though soul itself is up till this moment unconscious, unaware, is immobile, doing nothing. Sri Aurobindo has given and make all of us to realize the function of the soul, and the functioning soul is psychic. Functioning soul is psychic, and it is the psychic that can club all the cells of the body, that can create, just like a kaleidoscope, the master pattern on the screen of the kaleidoscope. 3 plates are there, but set in triangle, that is kaleidoscope. 3 plates, glass plates, glass strips are there in the form of triangle, and only one eye is there. If we can concentrate, closing one eye and using second eye, we can look into the kaleidoscope, we can see that some sort of design is there. Slight jerk can change the design, a birth can change the design. Our design has been continuously passing through this process of changing itself, and the entire process as such is called by Sri Aurobindo transfiguration. First of all, we must have master key of the transfiguration. Thereafter, we can have master key of transformation. So, physical transformation is the very de novo new step, new objective and new ideal added to any yoga of the world under the sky. Any yoga. And there, organs are to be changed. Human portion is to be changed. Human portion as manifesting for the divine assignment is to be changed, Mother says. That makes a kind of very difficult combination to realize. It's a very difficult combination. 5 karmendriya and 5 gnanendriya, they are working under the imperative impact of mind up till now. But if we keep our mind silent, keep our mind in silent zone, mind is not to be discarded. Mind is to be utilized rightly, appropriately, to root out all the bad habits up till now functioned and up till now generated by mind, and death is the master dead habit. That is rejection. What is to be rejected? What mind had done, what mind had accumulated, what mind had treasured with miscalculation, with attachment, with conditioning, with reaction. What mind has accumulated up till now, since so many births, has to be totally discarded and rejected. Mind as instrument is not to be rejected, but wrong functioning, wrong habits of mind implemented in the body are all to be rejected. That is the stage of Sri Aurobindo's yoga of ascent, and that is the same stage of the yoga of descent of Savitri, that is Mother. That makes a kind of very difficult combination to realize, especially if you take the heart. Mother gives example of all these things. This is the scenario, and that has to be properly understood, properly comprehended and properly lived. If you take the heart, for example, the heart must be replaced by the center of power. if we are rightly operating the cells of the mind of the cells, then what will happen? How our transfiguration, if kaleidoscope gets this voluntary jerk, willful jerk, self-restriction, self-imposition, imposition of soul's aspiration on our body's attachment, temptations, reaction, conditioning, if they are all to be removed, then psychic will has to be imposed upon it. Psychic determination is to be imposed upon the functioning of the body, organs of the body, figure of the body, design of the body. And it should be brought within the orbit of the psychic. Psychic is in the center, and let them be within the orbit of the psychic individually. But if the perfect combination as such is realized, then that combination, our individuality, will be in contact with the Virat, will be in contact with the universe. It will be universal consciousness and it will be cosmic consciousness too. Human body was given to Lord Krishna, but human body of Lord Krishna can create its own Virat, and only it is not the object created by Lord Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Virat is the projection of Lord Krishna's psychic, using his body, using his mind, using his aspiration, using his velocity at that time as human body, but at the perfect level. Purna Purushottam Paramatma, Lord Krishna can do it. Every man can do it, provided if this combination is rightly figured out. If this combination is rightly implemented, every individual can do it. Very, very powerfully projected sadhana was given to the mother, and mother, being a Western lady, was not Indian sadhvi, was not Indian saint, was not Indian, in the Indian perspective, trained tapaswini, Western lady. But it is the supramental figure, it is the supramental manifestation, it is the supramentalized entity of Sri Aurobindo, as Kalki mandatorily asked mother, you will have to live and you will have to perform this. That is this sadhana, the mind of cells. If you take the heart, for example, the heart must be replaced by the center of power. Heart must be replaced by the center of power. We call Antaratma. Where is living? Where is residing? Okay, in my heart. In my heart. Soul is not there in the muscles of the heart. Soul is there in between two lungs, in the center. That is the center of the power. And that center of the power, heart, is to be transfigured as the center of the power. And that center of the power, psychic, is to be so expanded that it can be the master pattern, as Euclid says. Euclid says, geometrically, it becomes the master pattern, and master pattern is demigod. Master pattern is the individual of interim race. Master pattern is the human body at the level of perfection, at the level of Lord Krishna, at the level of companion of Lord Krishna. The experience that was given to Lord Krishna in Dasam Skanda of Srimad Bhagavat was the same experience given to each and every companions of Lord Krishna at that time. Secret only is the secret to be in God's orbit, orbit of the divine. center of power, a fantastic dynamic power. Power of psychic is fantastic and dynamic. At what moment is the blood circulation going to be stopped? At what moment the blood circulation is going to be stopped? Death. It is death. Organ is there, blood is there, body is there, channel is there, everything is there. But when harmony turns into disharmony, that blood circulation stops. And the force thrown in, that is not easy, and the force thrown in. But if psychic is functioning appropriately, it matters little for blood circulation to stop even after ceasing the flow of the blood. When heartbeats are not there, consciousness is still working, psychic consciousness is still working, and psychic consciousness replacing mind is occupying the body, and that body is living. So while death also, body is living, and we can feel life and death together simultaneously. Choice is with the psychic. If psychic wants, let me have my body once back, he can. The psychic can do it. Mind cannot do it. It is psychic that can do it. So this is the master key Mother got, probably and provided the instruments, organs are also put into right orbit, put into right swadharma, put into right entity. Force thrown in, that is not easy. In ordinary life, you think things and then you do them. In ordinary life, you must first do things. We are doing things, and thereafter we can learn the technique of it. Thereafter we can learn the cause of it. Thereafter we can learn the reality of it. First we experience, and then we establish it. You must first do things and then you understand them. But much later, our understanding comes later. After that experience is completed, then we can get the right understanding. That is mental movement. That is movement of the mentality. Movement of psychic is not similar to the movement of the mind. So, from the very nature of the movement, we can feel whether it is psychic movement or mental movement. That is the real understanding. The distinction between the functioning of the psychic and functioning of the mind is our accountability, is Sri Ganesh of our body sadhana. You must first do things and then you understand them, but much later you must first do without thinking. Without thinking we must do it, and without thinking it thoughtlessly, not thoughtlessly. With the magnificent compulsion, Einstein says, compulsion, imperative, mandate comes from within. That is what Lord Krishna mandatorily asks Sri Aurobindo, that don't try to search out for your guru. Try to receive adesh from within. We must also learn, we must also get adesh from within. That is not the adesh from the mind. It is not from thinking mind. We must stop thinking. And if we want to think, mind has to accept the adesh, mandate from the psychic, and it is to be formulated in thought. But crystallized. If mind is a sea of white sincerity, then it can do it. Things, and then you do them. Here it is just the opposite. Whereas here, when psychicality starts, when the awakening of the mind of the soul starts, then it is exactly opposite to our everyday routine, dead habit and practice. But much you must, if you think you don't achieve anything. If you think, you don't achieve anything. And with thinking, we don't achieve anything. And whatever we have achieved has to be left out here. Because what is to be achieved is forgotten, and what is not to be achieved is practiced. That is our mind. You don't achieve anything. You are simply back in the old route. You are simply back in the old route. Jatasya hi dhruvam mrityu dhruvam janma mrutasya cha. So that old route is to be changed into this uncharted new route. And uncharted route is the route of awakening the mind of the cells, and to get it and get it clubbed in such a way that psychic becomes the center of this new pattern, and the life of new pattern is the transfiguration of this body. And after that, psychic starts its process and functioning. That is called psychicization. And within one birth, as mother did completed this experiment, we people also can complete it. So this is the yoga shortcut for highest goal, and highest goal is to root out the death, is the victory over death. It's new. This is a new program. That means you don't know whether you are progressing or not. We don't know, and that is our common question, whether we are progressing or not. You are also asking every time the same question. But that question is to be asked to our mind. So competently you are working in me, so competently you are operating my body. So where am I? Then mind will say that you are just at the station from where you started your journey. So what is journey? You have not yet started. You have not achieved a single step further. It is simple horizontal velocity. Verticality is far away from us. You don't know where you are going or what path you are on. There are all kinds of things happening this way in our life, because we are not living. Whatever we are living is not life. Whatever instrument we are using is not appropriate, right mind or swadharma of the mind, and with the result we are deviated, we are fluctuated, we are derailed because of our mind, and we become the bundle of the dead habits, and the grand total of the bundle of the dead habits is death. That is the final degeneration, and that is to be rooted out. There are all kinds of things happening, but are they part of the path or aren't they is not the question up till now we have raised, nor we got the reply of it. I have no idea. Only at the other end does one know. Mother says when she started in 62, that entry into body's consciousness, entry into physicality, at that time Mother says that this possibility is at the another end. I have started from one end of the bridge, I have still to reach the another end of the bridge where my mystery is waiting for me. This is the solution I must achieve.